Coming up on today's episode, Tokyo Disneyland officially opens their new amazing expansion. Tinkerbell has been cast in a Peter Pan remake you didn't know was happening, and COVID-19 takes its toll on Disney's film release schedule again. All that and more, as well as our featured film discussion on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs on today's episode of Plus or Bust. Welcome to episode 2 of Plus or Bust, a Disney podcast, where each week we watch a random movie on Disney Plus and decide whether we would recommend it, give it a plus, or not, which is a bust. My name is Matt, and joining me today is my sister Nikki.
Hello.
My wife Carissa.
Hi.
And my brother Brady.
Yellow.
Alright, so before we get to the movie, we have some newsy related things that we're going to cover. We talked about this ahead of time, so there's been a lot of Disney news that's happened since we last recorded, and let's get to that. At first, we have some Disney parks related news to start with. Hong Kong Disneyland has officially reopened again after being closed again due to a rise in COVID-19 cases in Hong Kong. The park originally reopened in June after being closed since January, only to be reclosed in July because of a spike in cases. But the park has officially reopened as of September 25th. I mean, we don't really go to Hong Kong Disneyland, so I guess there's not really a lot to talk about there, but I wanted to mention that they reclosed in July because cases went up to 51 cases.
Oh, I thought you were going to end that with 51,000.
No, the cases that decided to make the spike that decided to make them reclose was only 51 cases in the immediate area surrounding Hong Kong.
50 cases. Wow.
Yeah.
At least they were proactive.
I like it.
Yeah. Unlike us over here, still open.
In Florida.
Yeah, in Florida, open and opening things even more.
I only had 758 cases today.
Hong Kong had 51 and closed.
51.
I think I run into more than 50 a day.
I sure hope not.
In other foreign Disney parks news, Tokyo Disneyland has opened its long-awaited Fantasyland/Toontown/Tomorrowland expansion that was meant to be opened all the way back in April, but of course, due to the closures, the opening was delayed until today, September 28th. This expansion includes the new dark ride, The Enchanted Tale of Beauty and the Beast, the Happy Ride with Baymax, which is a spinner ride based on Big Hero 6, the Big Pop, which is an entire store dedicated just to popcorn, and Minnie's Style Studio, a new meet and greet location for Minnie Mouse.
Are they doing meet and greets over there? I know that they had talked about starting them in the foreign parks.
I want to say yes, they are doing meet and greets in Japan.
They're doing parades, so I would assume that they probably do some type of meet and greet. I wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I do remember seeing something about how they're going to start doing meet and greets, but I couldn't remember if it was Tokyo or Shanghai.
I think I remember seeing Shanghai, but I think Tokyo is as well doing meet and greets. Either way, they have a new location for you to meet Minnie Mouse at her Style Studio. So there's that.
So, question. This expansion is just the first part of this expansion, correct? Because then they're supposed to be doing the Tangled ride and the Peter Pan Flight of Passage ride.
That's in Disney Sea. This is in Disneyland.
So is the expansion? That's two different expansions.
Yes, it's two different parts.
Okay.
Two separate parts.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Tokyo Disney Sea is where they have the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, right? And the that one popular ride. I can't think of what it's
Journey
called
to the Center of the Earth.
Journey to the Center of the Earth, yeah.
Yeah.
And Aquatopia.
Aquatopia, yeah.
The best ride ever.
And Aquatopia. People do love that ride.
Yeah.
People love Aquatopia.
I know. It's great.
Now, yeah, so Tokyo Disney Sea, they're currently in the middle of their big expansion with Tangled and Peter Pan and Frozen. So, but this is a smaller expansion with a really incredible Beauty and the Beast ride.
So this is an expansion of Fantasyland in Disneyland?
Well,
what area? What is it called?
It's Fantasyland, Toontown, and Tomorrowland.
Oh,
because
okay. I got
one is in Fantasyland, one's in Toontown, one's in Tomorrowland.
Gotcha.
The Baymax Mater spinner is in Tomorrowland.
Gotcha.
Which that looks really cool. I just looked it up.
I mean, it looks cute, but it's the same ride that they have in 4 other parks.
Right,
Yeah.
isn't it the same as the alien ride?
It's
Yes.
the same
Yeah,
as
it
the
is.
Alien
Mater.
ride, which is the same as the
It's
Mater ride,
Mater.
which is the same as the Woody's Roundup ride in Hong Kong, I think. It's in 4 different parks now. That ride system is in 4 different parks.
Hey, it
Okay, so
works.
I just looked it up, and in Tokyo Disneyland, they are doing meet and greets, but there's only 2 in Tokyo Disneyland, which is Mickey's house to meet Mickey, and then they're doing a meet and greet for Donald.
Not Duffy?
No, unless that's in Tokyo Disney Sea.
I think
Let me see.
Duffy is in Disney Sea. I think there's a show with Duffy and friends in Disney Sea.
Yeah, let me see,
Wow.
because it's Saludos Amigos, Greeting Dock, and Mickey and Friends Greeting Trails. Duffy's there? I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, but it's cute. The place in Tokyo Disneyland where you can meet Donald is called Camp Woodchuck.
Yeah, that opened a few years ago, the Camp Woodchuck expansion. I don't think there's anything really there. I think it's just like a wooded area.
But according to my Junior Woodchuck handbook,
You can get some cool popcorn at the Big Pop.
yes, exactly.
I wanna go there.
They have a New York style, no, Chicago style,
Yeah, I love Chicago style popcorn.
but it's just called cheddar and caramel.
because it's not Chicago.
It's
I just
it's
thought that was
Japan.
funny.
I was just looking that up, but I want all of the popcorn buckets.
Yeah, they sell a lot of popcorn buckets there. They introduced a bunch of new ones. There's a Baymax one. There's a
Yeah, I want the Baymax.
Beauty and the Beast one. They
They
went all out.
I'm looking at Baymax, Beauty and the Beast, Pooh Bear, and the Andy's Toy Box.
That's why I told Uriel whenever we eventually go there, we're going to have to pack a
An extra
really
suitcase.
big
8
Yeah, I'm
extra
gonna have to-
suitcases just for me,
just for you guys.
because I want all of the popcorn.
I'm incredibly jealous of the Beauty and the Beast ride. I haven't watched a full video of it yet, but I have seen the animatronics, and they're incredible.
Yeah,
Which I think is
according to-
interesting because, like, it's just Rise, but Beauty and the Beast. Would you rather have that?
It's not Rise, it's a dark ride. There's no drop or, like, simulator thing.
It's
trackless.
trackless.
Spoilers.
But it's still not...
Spoilers.
It's still not, like, as intense as Rise. It's more of a... It's more along the lines of Pooh's Honey Hunt.
Which they've all said is like a Pooh Bear Rise, the Resistance.
I mean, I guess.
I just think it's interesting because I wish that we had Beauty and the Beast versus Rise.
Why can't I have both?
Well, you can't have both. You obviously. I guess they can't have both either technically since they don't have a Galaxy's Edge, but I don't know. I just think that's interesting. I haven't seen anything of the new animatronic because I don't want to look at it because it's just going to make me mad because I just wish that we had it. But from the ones that we saw forever ago, it just looked really incredible and I thought that was really cool. Looks like they brought it to life.
That's exactly what they did, yeah.
Not fair.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Tokyo Disneyland is not owned 100% by Disney. It is owned in part by the Oriental Land Company, and they put a lot of their own money into the attractions and keeping the park maintained. And so when Disney isn't fitting the bill,
Yeah.
I mean, you might as well go all in.
I wonder if...
right.
Do you think that in Imagineering, I guess maybe do you know if in Imagineering, so, because this is all still Disney Imagineers, they go over there and they work there and stuff like that.
Right, they're
So-
contracted out by the Oriental Land Company.
So, the Imagineers come up with these ideas, and do you think that they pitch all the different ideas, and then, like, Oriental Land Company was like, yeah, I want that one, and then that's how they go about making it and stuff
That's
like
how it
that?
works out here, so I would imagine that's how it works there.
Oh, okay. Does Imagineering pitch ideas and World and Land both go there and look at them and they're like, yeah, I want that, or no, I don't want that?
I mean, we haven't really copied very much from Tokyo. It's one of the only parks that we don't have.
No, I said, does Land and World both look at the same idea and say
I have no idea. I know that that Imagineers pitch ideas
to
yeah, that's how when Tony Baxter got Splash Mountain and Star Tours approved, he pitched both those ideas to Michael Eisner, and Michael Eisner brought his son, and his son was the one who gave the okay for for those two attractions. So,
but that doesn't explain how does it decide which goes to World and which goes to
They
Land?
probably pitch it for each individual park based on space.
And you think like the president picks?
I have no idea who picks. At the time, it was Michael Eisner. He was the CEO, so I would assume Bob Chapek has some say in it.
Yeah.
But I don't know 100% for sure, and I don't know if that process is the same now. They're so much more homogenized these days. Like, when they were pitching for Star Wars, they probably had to specifically do Star Wars, as opposed to when Tony Baxter was pitching, nobody had any idea he was going to pitch a Star Wars.
Yeah,
ride,
well, I'm just curious, because, like, when you talk about, like, Galaxy's Edge, like, they obviously overhead made the choice for it to go to both parks, but, like, Imagineering is working on projects all the time. So I'm just curious, like, is there a process where the president goes there and he's like, I want this one, da-da-da, or, like, I don't know, how does it get prioritized?
I would assume they pitch for each individual park. And then if they decide that they can duplicate it, they decide that they can duplicate it. Like, I'm sure the Princess and the Frog refurb was pitched for both at the same time.
Yeah.
But I'm sure the Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster was only pitched for Epcot.
Right, yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
No, I was just going to say, Mark from Yesterworld had said that after watching the POV, he said that while the animatronics look incredible, he said that during the Be Our Guest show scene, the ride as a whole seems oddly paced, empty, and lifeless. So I haven't watched any of the...
I think it starts with Be Our Guest.
Yeah, I haven't seen a POV or anything of it, so I'm kind of wondering, like, what exactly does that... What does he mean by that? And he's saying that it could just be a experience. You have to experience it in person, kind of thing.
That's a lot of rides. I think the thing with Be Our Guest, from what I can tell from pictures, is that it's a very large room, and there's not a whole lot going on outside of the middle table, where like Lumiere and like Belle and the other dancing utensils and stuff are. I feel like the best comparison you can make to it would be the Under the Sea scene in the Little Mermaid ride, where there's a lot. It's a big room. It's the biggest room in the ride, but there's a lot going on everywhere you look. I think in the Beauty and the Beast ride, it's a really big room, but there's only something happening in the center of the room. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the cars kind of go around the table.
Yeah.
But it's still a very large space with not a lot happening. From what I can tell from pictures, I mean, I haven't seen that room moving. So, and I definitely haven't been on it, obviously. So.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obvious.
In parks-related news that's a little closer to home, we still don't know when Disneyland's opening.
Yeah.
Never.
They had an entire virtual invite-only press conference about it and announced nothing.
Yeah.
It was basically a waste of a press conference. I feel like it was specifically to try to get Newsom and the rest of California on board by showing what they're planning.
Yeah.
But like they didn't actually announce anything because there's nothing to announce.
Yeah.
We read rumors earlier on Mice Chat, which take with a grain of salt, that cast members are hearing that November 6th might be the opening date. But as of right now, there is no official word from Disney on the opening of Disneyland in Anaheim.
RIP Disneyland.
But in Anaheim-related news, they announced today that they're going to be doing D23, and it's going to be held September 9th through the 11th in 2022.
Yep, it's skipping next year because it would have been... Next year would have been D23. So that's a pretty big change.
I think they're just like, we're not going to worry about anything. For one, everything got pushed back for a year anyways. Projects, anything that was like, that they could have shown next year, like, that's all getting canceled or pushed back, or budgets, constraints. Like, there's so many things into play for this year that it makes complete sense that they're like, well, we had to call 2020 a wash, so there's nothing coming on the horizon for 2021. So I will be super curious. Also, I think that D23 probably makes them a lot of money just because the people pay to go and stuff. But I mean, other than that, like, the panels and all that stuff and bringing people, like, that could still all be a logistical nightmare next year, trying to social distance, trying to get celebrities in, trying to get high-profile people in. Like, all that stuff would be a nightmare if we're still dealing with a lot of the stuff that we have to deal with now. So it just makes total sense that they're just like, you know what, let's just push it back a year. And also, they can just put things up on Parks blog and it spreads like wildfire and stuff, and they can get information out there to their fans really easily, and they don't have to do all the bells and whistles of D23. But it sucks for people that like conventions. I know there's a lot of people that really look forward to that stuff and Comic-Con and all that stuff, and I hope that there's a lot of things that are uncertain moving forward. Like, there's a lot of things that we don't know if we're ever going to experience those things, like, in the same facet, especially if we don't really find a cure for COVID. We just live with it. There's things that you're never going to be able to do again, like meet and greets and stuff. You're not going to be able to ever hug characters the way you were before, and some of those things can come back eventually, you know, and I hope that, you know, conventions really do make their way back, because I do think it is a really good thing, and I think it's really important for, like, certain communities to come together and be around people like that. So hopefully that, you know, we just get it pushed back and it doesn't go away indefinitely.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to be able to get rid of these big conventions.
Yeah, I mean,
the Comic-Con is one of the biggest events of the year. Without it happening, it's people are going insane.
Well, didn't they do it virtually though?
They did it virtually, kind of.
Sort of, yeah.
But they could do that from now on. That's what I'm saying. Like, hopefully it's not something that gets lost, because we never got to go, and I wanted to go.
I'm sure it'll come back. But since you brought up the fact that a lot of stuff has been delayed, obviously one of the reasons to not even bother with D23 next year is that their entire movie schedule has been delayed, which is one of our news things that we're going to talk about. Last week, they announced that they were once again pushing back almost their entire film lineup for this year and next year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So a lot of big movies have moved around on the schedule, such as Black Widow, which was supposed to come out on the 6th of November, has been moved all the way to May 7th of 2021. Death on the Nile, the sequel to Murder on the Orient Express from 20th Century Productions, was supposed to come out on October 23rd. That's been pushed back to December 18th, and I'll be surprised if it makes that date. The Eternals, a movie that will never come out, was previously supposed to come out on the 12th of February of next year. It's been pushed back all the way to November 5th of next year. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was dated for May 7th, and it's being pushed back to July 9th. And West Side Story, Steven Spielberg's West Side Story, was hit the biggest.
That was Christmas.
Yeah, it was hit the biggest. It was supposed to come out on the 18th of December this year. It's been pushed back to the 10th of December, 2021. A whole year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There's
technically, if you think about it, Black Widow's a whole year too, because its original release was the very end of April.
That's true.
So
yeah,
it's going back a whole year.
It's really interesting, the ones that they're choosing to hold out for, because, like, I mean, you might know off the top of your head, didn't they spend more money on Mulan than they did on Black Widow?
Yes, I believe
so. So it would have been a bigger loss to put Mulan on Disney Plus than it would have been for Black Widow. So, like, why don't they just do the same thing that they did and do premiere access for Black Widow?
I think it's because it's a Marvel movie.
What does that have to do with anything? I don't understand.
Kevin Feige.
You
know, they want to make as much off Marvel as possible, and Marvel is like one of the most popular film franchises of the last 10 years.
Yeah, but I mean, it came to an end last year anyways. They hit their high. Black Widow was never gonna be the highest grossing movie of all time. So
you gotta
take it. Why would you take an L with a movie that you spent more on with a movie that you spent less on than, like, Mulan? Like, I don't understand.
Mulan took a huge L because they released it in China and it did horrible, and they expected it to do really well in China.
Yeah.
They put a lot of money into making sure that movie specifically did well in China, and it just They released it,
It bombed.
and it just didn't.
It bombed.
It
bombed.
It just didn't. Well, everything's bombing that's being released right now. Tenet has made like
So
nothing.
why not just put all of it on Disney
I don't even know
Plus
what
and
that
do
is.
Premiere Access? I don't understand. Like, what are you holding out on Black Widow for?
Because
Black Widow.
I think it's because it's Marvel. Marvel is their cash in the bank right now. It is their cash in the
Yeah.
bank right now. That's why all of the Marvel movies have been delayed.
But
Every single one.
I guarantee you that they would have had more hype on Black Widow if it had been one of the first ones to premiere on Disney Plus versus now when they're going to put it out a year later. Now it's going to be like a whole 2 years after Endgame.
But if
A whole
people-
2
if
years
people are
after she
excited-
already died.
If
Like,
people are excited to go back to the movies, though, a Marvel movie is exactly what they're going to go see.
I don't know.
Right.
I think they
Yeah.
should just take that and put it on Disney Plus.
I don't see that happening.
They won't. They won't.
The only two movies that weren't delayed from the schedule were Soul and Free Guy by 20th Century Fox, or 20th Century now. They're not actually called Fox anymore. And rumors are that Soul's going to end up on Disney Plus, and Free Guy,
like,
I have no idea what the hell they're doing with Free Guy.
Why?
I assume it's going to go on Hulu or something.
I don't understand.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big hit going to Disney Plus because you would think Pixar would want to hold out too, but
They didn't with Onward though, so that's I don't know. I just think that they should just.
I think they had
Well,
less faith
and
in
I
Onward.
think that it even makes more sense.
Onward at least made it to theaters for a minute. I saw Onward in theaters.
But it makes
So-
more.
A lot of movies too are going to drive-ins.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to go to the drive-ins.
It makes more sense for Black Widow and some of the other Marvel movies to go on Disney Plus because all of the shows are going to be on Disney Plus. So why don't you just start the pivot to Disney Plus?
Because
when you're
they
already
want that
doing
theater money. They want another $1 billion movie.
they're not getting another $1 billion movie ever again. Possibly, they're never going to see that kind of money.
But they don't know that yet, so they have to take.
should know.
The day has to come to where those movies finally release in theaters for them to learn. If the movie theaters all finally open back up and they release Black Widow and it doesn't make any money, then maybe they will suddenly turn all that. But I don't think they want to.
Anyways, I don't think it was going to make as much as they think it is, especially for holding out for a whole year.
It would have at least made $500 million.
I guess.
Easily.
There's no Marvel movie that hasn't, so it would have at least made that much. If Ant-Man can make that much, then Black Widow can make that much.
It will make at least as much as Thor 2 did.
I don't know.
Especially right now when it's hot. Like, if the movie theaters were open, people would be there.
Yeah.
Ugh, air conditioning. Yes.
And I think they don't want to set a precedent of releasing those Marvel movies because I think they have really high hopes for this Shang-Chi movie.
I'm sure they do, but I'm just saying they should just.
They're not going to though.
They
None
should
of them.
just
None of them are. They're all being
realize that
stubborn.
it's
Warner
not-
Brothers released Tenet because they thought Christopher Nolan would bring people back to the box office, and now they're all eating their foots because fucking that movie didn't make any money.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I don't even know what that is.
It's
They're,
it's Inception.
They're gonna
It's
do this-
Inception again.
Oh,
they're going to do the same
Right.
thing with Wonder Woman.
I don't. Wonder Woman's not making that date. It's not. They're gonna delay it.
They
when
haven't
is
said yet.
When is Wonder Woman coming out?
In December.
Christmas Day, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. There's no.
That's not gonna
There's
happen.
no way. There's no way.
I don't know. I just think it doesn't make any sense. They should just put it all on Disney Plus. Charge $30. Charge $30 for the fucking movie, and then it ties in with the rest of it because I would
we don't know
assume
how much. We don't know how much Mulan has made
that
yet, though.
what?
We don't know how much Mulan has made on Disney Plus yet, though.
Also, people didn't really like that movie, them charging them $30
Well-
thing.
Well, they're gonna have to get over it. I mean, at some point they have to make the money back at
Yeah.
some point. And then if theaters, I mean, not even that. When theaters are open, that's one thing. But literally, movie theaters are one of the most dangerous situations that you can put yourself in with COVID. Like, it's a literal space that's not, the air isn't circulating. Like, I don't see movies coming back for, I think next year is going to be a wash too. So it's like, just, I think that they're going to be hurting themselves more because I think that Black Widow and all the other ones, they all tie in together eventually with Doctor Strange and all that stuff, and the Wandavision, I know, that connects to it and stuff like that. I think that they're just doing a disservice to themselves by putting it off. I don't know. I just think that you just came off of Endgame, literally the highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah, that's why they want to release it in theaters.
It ended that whole arc of them, and they're like more so or less starting over, and I just don't think Black Widow is going to be... I don't think it's as strong as they think it is. I think it's going to be the same situation with Mulan. I don't think that doesn't matter what they do with it. I just don't think it's going to do that.
I think they're going to hold on to the Marvel movies as long as possible. I think if we see Soul come to Plus, a Pixar movie, proven success Pixar. I think that just says all you need to know about how they feel about Marvel. I think they value Marvel above any of the others.
Well, they're wrong.
That's just how I think they see it. I think that's just how they see it.
My question is do you think what they're doing with Marvel, would they do the same with Star Wars?
What do you mean?
Like, if it wasn't Black Widow coming out, if it was Star Wars Episode 9, do you think they would hold that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
back?
Absolutely, they would.
They probably should have.
That movie needed another year in production.
Yeah, it did.
There's no Star Wars movies currently in production. There are movies being written. There's a lot that they want to make, but there's currently none in production. As of right now, they're kind of banking on Avatar to take the place of Star Wars.
Oh, I forgot about Avatar.
Which is something else that I didn't write this in the news, but James Cameron apparently says they are 95% done with Avatar 2.
Oh, he's such a liar.
And they're
I don't believe that.
And they're in the middle of working on Avatar 3. Yes.
He's such a liar.
Yeah, I read that earlier that 2 is done and 3 is in production.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, that went quick.
They were filming them back to back because they're planning like 6 of them. But I refuse to believe that it's 95% done. After 11 years? Yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Who cares? I don't understand.
Okay, here's the thing about the Avatar movies.
I'm the same.
Everybody keeps saying that, like, who cares? Who cares? I saw that going around on Twitter, like, name one character from the Avatar movies. Who cares about him being completed? And you know what? Everybody is going to eat their fucking words because that Avatar 2 is going to come out and it's still going to gross $1 billion because we all keep talking shit about it and everybody's going to want to see how it came out because we've been talking shit about it for 11 years.
No.
I believe that.
I absolutely
I
believe that movie's going to make a bunch of money. Maybe the third one won't, but I think
Do you want to bet?
I think the second one is going to make a ton of money.
I bet it's not.
I bet it does. I bet the second one grosses over $1 billion. The third one and everyone after that probably not. But the second one, we have been making.
I was about to say I'm going with Matt on this one.
It has been a punching bag.
Outdated the concept of that movie was.
It's been in the production for 11 years. It might not be outdated anymore.
No, it is. I have a feeling.
It's been the punching bag of the film industry for years. I don't see people not being curious. I just don't see it happening. I think that movie's absolutely going to make a ton of money.
It will. Easily.
And it'll probably suck, and then everybody's going to be like, why did we go see this movie? The same as they did with the first one.
Exactly. See, I don't even know if I've seen the first one.
It's on Disney Plus.
I think I've seen bits and pieces of it. I know it comes up. It's the #1 recommended movie.
Yeah.
But I skip right past it and go to my animated film.
All right, well, since we were talking about Marvel, let's move on to the Marvel news. Marvel dropped a new Wandavision trailer during the Emmys last week, and it pulled in some pretty big numbers online. It currently sits at just over 14 million views, which is only 6 million less than the latest Black Widow trailer. Pretty good for a Disney Plus show, and one that's about secondary characters in the MCU. Did we all watch the WandaVision trailer?
Hell yeah, we did. 1,000 times.
No.
No. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like the most interesting thing Marvel's done in a while.
I'm really excited about it because, I love Wanda and Vision, obviously, but just them going back to their comic style outfits just makes me so happy.
No, that's more just like a little in-joke is what I felt like that was more than anything.
Hey, in-joke or not, I love it.
I feel like the fact that they're using like the sitcom things, it's very clearly all in Wanda's mind, or like she's creating it like with her powers or whatever. And I think that's going to lead to something really interesting by the end of it. Because this is supposed to lead directly into the next Doctor Strange movie. And it's very possible that by the end of it, Wanda might just be completely out of her mind and might be the villain in the Doctor Strange movie. Because like she's got nothing left. Like she's clearly creating these delusions in her head. And I'm very curious to see where that goes. It looks like the most interesting thing Marvel's done in a while. So
that makes me sad, knowing that she's going crazy.
She might not. Maybe by the end of it, everything's fine. Who knows? But I think it's entirely possible that she's losing it.
I wouldn't put it past
I
her.
mean, she already lost her accent, so...
I think that it's a smart way to, like, bring back a character that has died and to, like, kind of use that. At the end of Endgame, when he goes back in time, I kind of thought that they were gonna use that to, like, in other ways, in the TV shows and stuff like that, because they had announced them before Endgame was over. So I think it's a creative way. However, if it is a little, like, depending on how sitcom-y it is, that's a little lazy, because when it's a sitcom situation, I mean, that stuff kind of writes itself. I mean, it'll be interesting to watch because they're superheroes in those scenarios. So, I mean, we'll watch it. I'm interested to see where they go with it, but I have reservations. So
I just think the sitcom thing is just it's all in her head. She's trying to create a perfect life with the person that she lost. So I think that's just going to be more a framing device than anything.
Yeah.
And the trailer even shows that there's a lot of scenes where they're not in the sitcom world. So
yeah,
very interested in it. It looks like fun, and it's supposed to come out this year, unlike Winter Soldier and Falcon, which was delayed because they had to stop filming because of COVID. So this is their next big thing after The Mandalorian comes out in October.
Hopefully it does good. I think it will. It's Marvel. So
I mean, the trailer did good, so I think it'll put butts in seats.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, well, following that is something completely unrelated. The Hollywood Reporter reported on the 25th that Blackish star Yara Shahidi has been cast as Tinkerbell in the upcoming live-action Peter Pan remake known as Peter Pan and Wendy. That's it. That's the story.
I am excited to see her in this role. I think it'll be interesting. I mean, we like that they're putting black actresses in roles that are traditionally played by white characters and stuff, but I'm a little bit nervous because between the last couple ones that did really, really good, and like the way that the box office is probably going to be next year, depending on like what comes out and how COVID does and stuff like that, I just don't know. I feel like by the time it gets to Peter Pan, like it's not, I don't know. I feel like interest is going to drop at some point in these movies, and budget is going to drop at some point in these movies, and I just hope that, you know, by the time, I hope that they put the love and care that they should into The Little Mermaid, and I hope that they put the love and care into this, and I also hope that Tinkerbell she has a pretty good role in it. I assume since they announced her with the movie, she will, but, I mean, we'll see. I know that they love her. She has her own spin-off and stuff, and I think she's a great actress. She's also very, like, vocal about issues and stuff, so I think that she's, like, one of their darlings, and I'm excited to see her in a role, and I hope that they give her more after that. So
yeah, I'm kind of just reading about her because I have no idea.
I've never watched any of Blackish, or I think she's on, what is it, Grownish?
Grownish, yeah. I've never
She's
watched
the star of
Grownish.
Grownish.
I've never watched Blackish either. I've only seen a few episodes here and there. I just kind of know who she is because of the show and because of the stuff. And I've just everything. You know, she's a good role model type thing. She's unproblematic, so that's good. And Blackish, I think, is a really important show. It's very successful. It's very popular. And I think I didn't watch Grownish. Nicole watched Grownish, but from what I heard, she really liked it and stuff. So
Tinkerbell's a really iconic character, and just the fact that they were willing to cast a person of color in that role is, I think, a big deal.
Yeah.
Same with Ariel.
I think it's too interesting too, because with Ariel and with Splash Mountain being transformed and everything, like, they've made their stance. Like, they've said, like, hey, like, you know, this is where we stand on all these issues and how we feel about it and stuff. So I don't even know that this was like, I don't want to say not an unnecessary choice, but, like, you know, they didn't have to go the extra mile and do it with another iconic character. But I'm glad that they did, and I think that they're, you know, letting everybody know where they stand, and I think that's awesome.
Hopefully it'll be good, because they don't
Hopefully.
most of them have not been very good, and I don't have a lot of faith in Peter Pan to be the one that's good, since there's been zillion Peter Pan movies.
I just kind of wish that they just take the premise and like not make it like exactly like it, because I feel like
Well, I assume it's going to be somewhat different. It's called Peter Pan and Wendy.
Yeah.
Wendy's obviously going to have a larger role. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
They didn't announce anybody else in the cast.
I haven't seen anything,
They haven't even officially announced the movie.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Oh wow.
So.
Fun.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them too, because Jim, he named like Hercules and what else
That
was
was
it?
officially announced though.
Oh, it is?
Hercules is official. That one I've been waiting for a year now.
What was the other ones that he announced?
He said that they were working on a Robin
Hunchback?
Hood.
Isn't there supposed to be a Hunchback?
Hunchback has also been announced.
Ooh, nice.
Somebody said something about Tangled. I don't want it.
No,
You keep it.
No, he didn't say it.
Tangled not happening. It's going to be any of them that are 20 plus years
They didn't
old.
say anything
Great.
about Tangled.
Keep it. We don't want it.
There was a few others that he mentioned, but I can't remember what they were off the top of my head.
I mean...
Snow White, I think, is getting one. Whatever, they're just going to keep doing it until they're not making money anymore. So,
Basically. Which will be sooner rather than later.
I don't know. We don't know what those Milan numbers look like.
Yeah.
And Little Mermaid is guaranteed to make $1 billion.
But even if Mulan doesn't make a lot of money, they're never gonna... It's not gonna stop with Mulan because of the extenuating circumstances. So you can't really... Even if Mulan bombed, you can't... They're not gonna take that... They're not going to take that as like, oh, we need to slow down.
Yeah,
They're just going to move on to the next one. I think that we probably won't see them like really slow down until like one bombs in like 2023.
So what it looks like, because I just looked it up, it looks like we have Cruella de Vil, The Little Mermaid, Peter Pan and Wendy, a Jungle Book sequel, 2 different Snow Whites, one being Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, one being Rose Red, Pinocchio, an Aladdin sequel, Hunchback, Bambi, and Hercules, as well as Disney Plus originals for Sword in the Stone, Robin Hood, an Aladdin spinoff, and Lilo and Stitch.
Oh, that's right. Lilo and Stitch was officially announced. And he did say something about Bambi, which was the most bizarre of all of them.
Let's
Isn't
let's
the
not.
Aladdin spinoff about the genie and that one girl?
No. The Aladdin spinoff is about the only white character in the movie, the German prince or whatever he was.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay, they can keep that too. We also don't want
Yeah,
it.
they announced that, and everybody was like, "Why? He's the only white person in that movie, and you're giving that character."
So they're not doing a sequel?
They're doing a sequel. They're making a sequel to that and
so
the
they're
Jungle
doing
Book
a spin-off
TV
movie.
show.
Yeah, it was
a
sequel. A sequel is announced for theaters, and then a spin-off is announced for Disney Plus.
Gotcha.
And Beauty and the Beast is also getting a spin-off TV series with Gaston and LeFou.
Oh, I think we knew about
that one.
though.
That one is not. That one's not listed on here.
Well,
so.
it's Josh Gad, and they've got him in their pocket. So
Yes,
Yeah.
that's their new sweetheart, Matthew.
It also looks like there's possibilities of a Tinkerbell standalone, a Prince Charming standalone, and a Genie standalone.
Who wants a Prince Charming standalone? Keep
they
it.
announced a Prince Charming standalone and a Genie standalone before they made Cinderella or Aladdin, so I wonder if those were ever canceled. They also announced at that same time a Night on Bald Mountain.
I would love that.
Segment from Fantasia. They were so
Chernobog for life.
So weird.
I'm weird. What do you expect?
All right, well, we really need to start getting into our film discussion, but Nikki wanted me to include this one, so we'll list this off since it's vaguely related. In other casting news, longtime Simpsons producer Al Jean tweeted yesterday, the 27th, that Alex Désert will be...
Désert, I don't know.
It's got an umlaut over the E, so...
It does, yeah.
Will be joining the cast of The Simpsons as the new voice for Carlson, Homer's friend and co-worker, replacing the current longtime voice actor Hank Azaria. This news follows a string of similar stories of white voice actors stepping down from voicing characters of color, such as Kristen Bell on Apple TV's Central Park, and Mike Henry as Cleveland on Family Guy. He will be replaced by Arif Zahir, but Zahir won't be voicing the character this upcoming season due to the voice work already being finished before the decision was made. Désert, on the other hand, will be voicing Carl in the season 32 premiere of The Simpsons.
Yes,
Nice.
So I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but according to what the people are saying on Twitter, that they really liked him,
Good.
but it was very similar.
Oh, okay, so he was trying to do a Carl voice instead of like a
Yeah,
different...
so Yeah, so this person said the new Carl voice actor is dead on, noted one commentator, while another said he sounds the same to me. It said, someone else said, just watch the new Simpsons episode, and unsurprisingly, the new Carl voice is absolutely fine.
Awesome. I will watch it tonight.
I think it's only good to give... voice acting is a really hard field to get into, and it's even harder for voice actors of color. Because a lot of roles of characters of color are just filled by typical voice actors. Not just white voice actors, but there's also a lot of Asian voice actors that also play, characters of various ethnicities. And I think this is... I mean, it seems like sort of a bandage solution where it's like, well, all these protests and everything are coming out. We might as well make a stance about it. We're changing the voice actor. It seems like a bandage solution, but I think in the long term, it's only a good thing to actually look for people to properly fill these roles the way they should be filled. It's interesting that Carl was the first one recast when the main uproar was about Apu.
Apu, I know, that's so weird.
Yeah. We still haven't heard anything about Apu and Manjula, but...
No, I know that Hank Azaria said he doesn't want to play him anymore, but I don't think that he has a new voice actor, so he just must not talk.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard, is that he hasn't had any speaking lines in the last season, too.
Yeah.
Which is so sad, because he's a great character. Who needs a cookie monster?
He's a main character.
Yeah, he's debatably a main character. Like I said, it's only a good thing. It's only a good thing, and good on all those actors stepping down from those roles and taking it
and then
dignity.
Hopefully any new show, and any new show that starts, like, they'll cast somebody.
I think a lot of shows are...
The first time.
I think a lot of shows are already doing that. A lot of Disney's own shows have been trying to do that in recent years, like Mira, Royal Detective, all the voice actors on there of Middle Eastern descent. So I feel like shows are only gonna get better about it as time goes on, and you need big shows like The Simpsons and Family Guy to take that step for others to want to follow. So
right,
I think that's good. Anyway, let's talk about Snow White, because we've been talking about the other stuff for so long.
Well, it premiered at Carthay Circle Theater in Los Angeles, California on December 21st, 1937. And so it actually didn't release nationwide until 1938 on February 4th.
Really?
It was a critical and commercial success, and with international earnings of $8 million during its initial release, briefly held the record of highest grossing sound film of all time.
Wow.
And so the popularity of the film has led it to be re-released theatrically many times until its home video release in the 1990s. So it says, adjusted for inflation, it is one of the top 10 performers at the North American box office and the highest grossing animated film.
I believe I knew that.
Oh, it also has an Academy Award.
Well,
Nice.
It won a...
Honorary Oscar.
They gave Walt an honorary Oscar because there wasn't any way to like properly give awards to animated movies at the time. It actually took like 60 years before they started properly giving animated.
Yeah, it was nominated for Best Musical Score.
Oh, interesting. I could see that. The music's really good in this movie.
Yeah, I love the music.
Okay, let me read what it says on Disney+. The description for this is incredibly short for being the most important movie Disney's ever made. Okay, forever enchanting and inspiring, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs embodies the Walt Disney Signature Collection's legacy of animation. In this epic story of love and friendship, the kind and beautiful Princess Snow White wins the heart of the Seven Dwarfs and triumphs over the evil plans of the Wicked Queen. Discover the movie called the greatest animated film of all time. Directed by David Hand and starring Adriana Caselotti, Harry Stockwell, Lucille Laverne, Maroni Olson, Billy Gilbert, Pinto Colvig, and many others. So is it the greatest animated film of all time?
No.
What?
No, it is not.
What?
I think for the time that it came out...
Well, it was the only animated film.
Right, no, but what I'm saying, though, watching it back, knowing that it came out 90 years ago, it's pretty amazing.
It looks really good. It still looks pretty good, I think.
Yeah, it does. I was impressed at how well it aged.
I think it definitely aged well, and animation wise, but other than that, not really. I mean, it kind of is just like a long short is what it feels like.
Right.
You know, which I mean, I guess that's what he started with, so that kind of makes sense, but and it was such a feat for them to do that they really could only do simple animation. They couldn't do all this like crazy stuff that they do now, like like the scenes and stuff like that, so it makes sense.
There are a lot of scenes in the movie that feel like filler that are almost as if they were shorts. Specifically, the scene of the Seven Dwarfs washing their hands very much feels like if you just replace those characters with like Donald or Pluto or whatever, it could have just been released as a Mickey Mouse short. Because it's just a bunch of slapstick and silly things happening that aren't really connected to the rest of the movie. It's just like its own individual 6-minute scene in the middle of this film. And I think that makes it flow a little bit weird when you compare it to more modern movies where the story is kind of so tight that it doesn't have time for filler. But I think for the story that they're telling in the very simple movie that it is, those scenes are entertaining. Aubrey was laughing the whole time at Dopey. So like, I think it still is good at what it's trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm surprised by how well it does hold up for being a movie of that age, especially being the first of its kind.
Yeah.
It's not a common thing.
I think it did great. It's a great movie, and I've seen it 100 times, and I'd watch it again. Like, no biggie.
I would say, though, that when I think of Snow White, I think of the ride.
Yeah.
More so than I think of the movie itself.
Yeah, I think that the theme park attraction, and actually on both coasts, are kind of like iconic in a lot of ways and have really held up over time, and that's kind of what I think of too. I definitely think of Mine Train for Florida. In Florida, I mean, more so than...
Well, when you think of the
movie,
the ride that we have out here, the Scary Adventure, it focuses way more on like the terrifying stuff, and there's not a lot of that in the movie. There are scenes of it. Like, I really love the scene of her running through the forest after the huntsman tells her to run away.
Yeah.
With like all the scary trees, and like the animation changes to where the like branches are like actual hands grabbing her, and like the crocodile logs. Like, that scene is really great, really iconic scene. I love the scene of the Queen taking the potion and turning into the Wicked Witch. That's a great scene as well. But those are really the only like scary scenes, and yet somehow the ride is all scary scenes.
Yeah.
Well, and it was even scarier before they changed it.
Yeah.
The change hasn't happened yet, has it?
I think they changed it before.
No. In Florida, was it Florida?
The Florida version was apparently much scarier
very scary
when it first opened.
Oh.
It's gone now, so it doesn't matter. But it was apparently very scary, and a lot of people were traumatized by it. The Florida version.
Brady, watch Yesterworld, okay?
My aunt had when she took her kids to Disneyland, this one scared them. She said that they like wet themselves and stuff, and she said that they were like 5 or 6, she said that they just didn't understand. They also, like, their household is not like a huge Disney household, so she never showed them that stuff, but she said those rides really scared them as kids and stuff. So it's like, I kind of am curious, like, what it is like through the eyes of a child, because like Aubrey doesn't count because she's been riding that ride since she was younger. Even if she doesn't remember it, she's been riding that ride since she was little. So I'm kind of curious, like, how a 5-year-old would experience that ride without having seen the movie and without knowing anything about the ride. Like, would it scare a child?
Well,
I mean, I guess.
Well, just ask Brady. Brady was scared of it until just last year.
Okay, the Snow White Scary Adventure is terrifying, but I wasn't deathly afraid of it. For some reason,
that was Pinocchio.
Pinocchio's daring journey has always gotten to me, and it still
No,
does
that
to
one
this
is kind of
day.
scary too.
Well, the
'cause
whale comes out.
Yeah, the whale is a little.
Yeah,
that's a little. If you're,
I don't know. To me, it was the Stromboli cage.
Oh, that
I don't know
The
why,
cage.
but
all those dark rides are designed to be kind of terrifying, which is bizarre. But I guess that was just the way Disney made things back in the day.
yeah.
Not the Alice in Wonderland though.
Well, that movie's just terrifying and bizarre to begin with.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think about Snow White herself, like as a character?
She definitely wouldn't have passed the, what is it called? the tests that they do.
The Bechdel test. The Bechdel test.
The Bechdel test.
Well, there's no other females
She
for her
had-
to talk to except for the witch.
I know, and she just does not talk enough for me.
Yeah, the whole movie is about her, but for some reason she just seems minor. It's more the Seven Dwarfs and the Queen that's running this movie.
I would have said that.
Snow White's just kind of there.
I would have said that before watching it again, but I feel like she is kind of just like a generic, like, nice girl. Like, that's kind of her biggest thing, is that she's just really nice. She's like praying, like, oh, I hope Grumpy likes me. And it's like that's her biggest worry, is that, like, she just wants she wants this
people to like
this
her.
grumpy old man to like her. I think that's really funny. And she is just kind of, you know, just nice, generic nice person. But I think when people look back at these older Disney princesses, they always think of them as, like, really flat, like, characters that don't participate a lot in their own stories. And I don't know that that's necessarily true for any of them except for Aurora. I feel like Snow White, even though she spends most of the movie just in the house, she does everything for the dwarves in the house. She cleans the house. She, like, teaches them, like, manners and stuff. Like, she's very active in what role she does have in the movie. Is she, like, a role model necessarily? Maybe not, but I think she's better than a lot of people would say that she is, looking back at it.
No, for sure, because I remember when when Tiana and Rapunzel and even, like, you would say Belle and Ariel, a lot of the newer princesses, you know, they get a lot of praise because they have way more, you know, personality and stuff. And I, for sure, for a long time was like, you know, the older princess suck. Like, I don't know why people like them so much. I don't know why they resonate with people so much. But after...
You still don't like Cinderella.
I don't. That's true. But
I think Cinderella's a pretty good character.
After watching the movies back, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Cinderella, you know, it's kind of funny because, like, their main personality trait is kindness in a lot of ways, like with Snow White, and that's actually a super relevant thing that we need right now. Like, people are just not very nice to each other nowadays, and, like, we should all be nicer to each other. We should definitely all be nice to strangers' houses that we're breaking into, for sure. But we should all be nicer people. And it's like, she really gets by. You know, the animals help her because she's sweet. The prince likes her because she's nice. And because he's a pedophile, apparently. And, you know, there's a lot of things that you can say about her. And she's like a princess, but she's over here cleaning. She was cleaning the castle and stuff. And then when she goes to the Seven Dwarfs, she's cleaning and she's not complaining about it. You know, she's doing what she has to do and stuff. And it's just like, it really is kind of telling about, like, her personality. And I think that it's, you know, they're not all bad. They're not. I mean, the movies themselves were boring, but it was also a different time when they were telling these stories. And then these stories are also very, very old. So, like, even if you compare Snow White and her time and, like, what was going on in her world compared to, like, Tiana, you know, Tiana had a lot of stuff, a lot more going for her, even, you know, just being a couple years later, you know? So
it's not just a couple years.
You have to take into account their surroundings and everything. And, like, Sleeping Beauty, even her story is a little bit like, you know, yeah, she doesn't really have that much of a personality, but her entire life was kind of mapped out for her. You know, she was put in a situation where she didn't have any control over it. And then when she met that guy, she tried to do, you know, what she had been taught and stuff, and then she fell asleep. That wasn't her fault, you know? It's just,
it was her fault. She couldn't think.
A lot of stuff happened.
She's naive. She's a child.
Yeah, she was only 16. But,
yeah.
You know, it's just
that she was 14.
When you take that,
it doesn't matter.
When you take their surroundings into consideration on top of everything, they're really not that boring. It was just a different time, and it was a different time that they were telling the stories and stuff. So, she's not that bad.
She is incredibly naive and gullible, though. She falls for every trick thrown at her in this movie. Yes,
she's 13.
She acts it.
She's 13.
This old lady comes up to her. Creepy looking old lady just comes up to the house and is just like, "Oh, eat this apple." And she's like, "Yeah, okay. I'll do it." She just walks into this house and she's like, "Oh, well, this must belong to some..."
She walked into their house.
Yes, she walks into the house and she's like, "Oh, this must belong to some orphan kids. I'll just live here." Like,
and clean it up.
yeah. The funniest joke in the whole movie comes after the dwarves discover that she was in there, and they're like, "Someone stole our dishes," because they weren't in the sink anymore. That's the best joke.
Yeah, they were clean.
That's the best joke in the whole movie. It's still funny. We mentioned the music earlier, but I think the music in this movie actually holds up probably better than anything else in it.
Yeah.
That's what some of my notes I had is Hi Ho is still like one of my favorite Disney songs. I would consider it a timeless masterpiece.
I agree. I think that's one of the best.
Easily.
It's so good.
It's just, I guess I just forgot how good the music in some of the older movies can be because they get so overshadowed by the Renaissance movies and their soundtracks. And like, It's not that Disney doesn't still use some of these songs, but they don't use them as much as they used to. Like now,
I was actually going to say the complete opposite. I was going to say that listening to the music, I felt like I was in Disneyland even though we weren't there. And I feel like that's because these movies have been around in the Disney, what do you call it? Bubble thing, what do you call it? The whole thing, you know what I'm saying?
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
Like, they've been in every Disney thing since the beginning. You know, every Disney commercial, every Disney parade, every Disney, all the stuff that they've had, all the shows and stuff. Snow White's always been a part of the shows. So these songs and stuff you hear over and over and over again because she's the first one. So it's so ingrained. The feeling of Snow White feels like being part of that, like any part of the Disney-ish stuff, you know, like when you used to watch the whole movies, when you go to the parks and stuff. So I actually think it's like I felt like watching it this time, you don't realize how much it's ingrained into every part of the Disney fiber, you know?
Yeah, I still think, if I'm not mistaken, Hi Ho is actually one of the songs that's still in, like, the Disney soundtrack, like, the white noise just in the background going down Main Street. I'm pretty sure Hi Ho is still in that track.
I don't think it's on Main Street.
I don't think so.
It is,
maybe not Main Street, but
it is in
Fantasyland and...
Fantasy Fair.
Yeah, Fantasyland.
Fantasy Fair.
Fantasyland and Fantasy Fair have a couple Snow White songs in their loops. But I'm just saying, like, when you watch, like, Happily Ever After, or Paint the Night, or World of Color, Snow White's not in any of those. And there's definitely no music from Snow White in any of them. She might be a character in them, but there's no music from that. So I feel like Snow White's been around for what, 90 years now?
87.
Yeah, they've used these characters and those songs so much that I feel like they're using the Renaissance songs more often now because they've been around less time.
Yeah.
Snow White, you know, Hi Ho's been around 87 years. Like, they've used it plenty. So I feel like they're not heard as often. And that's why when I heard them again in the movie, I was like, all these songs are really good. They're all still really good. Hi Ho is really good. Whistle While You Work is still really good.
Yeah. Whistle While You Work is another one that I was going to mention too, because that one is also amazing, and I wish animals could clean.
Yeah. She takes advantage of those poor animals.
Yeah,
though.
she does. She's like throwing dirty clothes on the
deer.
On the deer.
It's like she's a freaking Flintstone.
Someday My Prince Will Come, still really good.
Yeah.
Like, all those songs, they all still hold up really well, I think.
I agree with that.
Another thing that I was didn't realize before watching it again is the Queen really isn't in it very much.
No.
She's not.
She's such an iconic villain, both in her Queen design and in her old hag form. And I would say more so as the hag. And she's so prominent in the ride that, like, the fact that she's really only in the beginning and then not again until she becomes the hag is kind of surprised me, because I thought she was in it way more because of you know, everybody knows the evil queen from Snow White. She's just ingrained in pop culture, especially in Disney culture. Like almost every female villain after takes from her in some way. And I was just surprised by how little she was in the movie. She's great in the scenes that she's in.
Yeah, she's like one of the villains that you can say is like actually like super evil and stuff. And like she literally she's just trying to kill her because she's pretty. Like that's it. Just because she's pretty. Like
yeah, that was something that I had written down too, is like with the evil queen, it immediately sets her up as the villain. Immediately. There's no pause. It doesn't happen halfway through the movie like nowadays where it's like, oh, I didn't realize Hans was the villain the whole time.
Yeah.
But the queen is the evil villain 3 minutes into the movie. I want her heart in this box now.
Because she's
just like that.
Because she's prettier than me.
Yeah.
She's the fairest of them all, and that can't happen. I am the fairest of them all.
Which is so funny because she turns herself into an ugly hag, and that's how she dies. She doesn't die the fairest in the land. She dies this ugly old lady, crushed by a boulder, struck by lightning, and probably eaten by those vultures that fly off after her.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
She dies.
She should have made herself Vanessa.
She absolutely survived that boulder and then just died by the birds picking at her.
Yeah.
I don't know why she ran up that mountainside to begin with.
Right.
She,
I was thinking the same thing. Like, girl, do something else. Like,
you had to have gotten there one way. Why didn't you just go the way you came?
If she had successfully knocked that boulder down, she would have to climb over 7 dead men to get to the bottom. Like, that's a terrible situation to be in. Like, why would you choose that?
See, my thing with when I noticed her running up the hill and everything, I was like, I figured she was like, oh, you know what? They can't run up here on deer. Men on deer, they can't run up a hill.
Maybe.
Apparently she was wrong.
They just climb up. They're small. They're agile. They work in the mines and they don't know why. They're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do they work in the mines?
I don't know. We never got the sequel, okay?
But they want money.
But they say in the song that we don't know what we dig them for.
What is the original Grimm fairy tale?
I don't know. I don't know if they work in mines in the original Grimm fairy tale.
I'm gonna look it up.
I have the Wikipedia up too. I can see.
Does Snow White die a tragic death in the Grimm's fairy tale version?
I'm sure
probably
she does.
They're all gross. It says that Snow White discovers a tiny cottage belonging to a group of the Seven Dwarfs. It says that the Seven Dwarfs are a group of 7 dwarfs that live in a tiny cottage and work in the nearby mines.
Oh, so they do work in the mines in the Grimm's fairy tale.
Yeah, that's what it says. And they take pity on her.
Take pity on her? I feel like she just charms them in this one.
Oh wow, so the end is pretty, I mean, it ends happy. Says
it's the same.
It says, as a punishment for the attempted murder of Snow White, the prince orders the queen to wear a pair of red hot iron slippers and to dance in them until she drops dead.
Oh.
With the evil queen finally defeated and dead, Snow White's wedding to the prince peacefully continues. So
yeah, that's a happy ending.
Happy ending.
Well, I mean, it's happy ending for Snow White.
The ending of this movie. So the prince shows up,
he kisses her,
thinks she's dead,
and kisses her,
thinks she's dead, and just kisses her straight on the lips. Okay.
So he's not only pedophilic, but he's also what's that word?
Necro.
Yeah,
necrophiliac.
Like what?
He's totally creepy because at the beginning of the movie he just like shows up and is like creeping on her. Yeah. And like singing her and like she like runs into the house and he's like still like singing and lusting after her and I'm like, man, Disney princesses back in the day were different.
One day.
That's what we need to talk to our kids about.
Yeah, because Prince Philip does the same thing. He just starts dancing with her in the woods.
Yes.
Okay, but she's like a grown woman, damn near. Like she looks like a grown woman. She don't look like she knows 16 years old.
I guess, but he's still like creeping on her.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I can forgive that a little bit more than the other one, especially because Snow White's 13 years old. It's gross. Like she's a child.
Yeah,
she looks like a child.
They never say that in the movie.
Snow White's design she looks young.
Like she's modeled after a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's modeled after a 14-year-old. But what is Do we actually know how old Florian is technically supposed to be?
The prince?
I don't think it says.
Yeah, it never says. He's not a character. He doesn't matter.
It says 31.
Oh God.
Online.
Oh God.
According to who?
That's what it comes up on.
Did Iger himself say this?
It's just one that Googled Prince Florian's age with the title "Surprising Age Gaps of Disney Couple." The pic shows the biggest age gap to be between 14-year-old Snow White and 31-year-old Prince Florian.
I don't know where that
my
came from,
God.
but I'm not okay with that.
I don't know that Disney, even in the olden days, even back 90 years ago, I don't know if they would have admitted that.
I don't think they gave either of them an age back then. I think they just
Because
made the movie.
There's a lot of, like, those specific things that are, like, so loose because they don't actually say them in the movie. Like, isn't Adam not really the Beast's name?
Yeah, no, the Beast doesn't have an official name. That's
fans
just
gave
a fan
him
name
or something.
It's based on...
it's
pulled from something, but it is not an official...
Right.
It's like from a novelization
I hope he doesn't have an
or something.
official age, because that's gross.
No, I don't think he has an official age.
I think based on what I'm reading here, though, the original Grimm fairy tale story, Snow White is like 17 years old.
So not a child. I mean,
17
I guess
is a
technically
child.
but not as much of a child.
Back 90 years ago, though, girls were getting married at 16, 17.
Brady, girls are getting married at like 12.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah,
just
but
trying to make
that doesn't make it okay.
I mean, no, honestly, like, he's right. Like, they used to, like, girls used to be, you know, literally child brides. I mean, actually, that's still an issue that we have today.
I was going to say, there's still child brides in other countries.
But it's, so even with that, even if I can forgive that, the way that he approaches her and the way he approaches her when he thinks she's dead is very creepy. And it's like, Prince Philip, the way he does it, it comes off romantic. And the way that this guy does it just comes off as creepy, stalker. Like, how did he, like, I don't know. It's just, it's weird.
He definitely comes off as a creeper in the first scene, and the fact that he's just willing to kiss this dead body. But I brought it up not to mess with the prince. I wanted to just say that, like, the second she's awake, she's just like, okay, bye. Like, yeah. I'm just leaving with this prince. Thanks for watching after my body for God knows how long, but
giving me this nice glass coffin.
Yeah, but screw you. Bye. I'm gonna go live with my prince.
So in the Grimm fairy tale, it says that she runs away at 7. This is when the huntsman tries to kill her. She meets the dwarves, and she lives with them for 10 years.
Wow.
And so it's 10 years later that's when the queen, who believes that she got rid of Snow White, is told by the mirror that Snow White is the fairest one of all.
Why wouldn't she ask that question immediately? Why did she wait 10 years?
Well, if he brought her the heart, then she wouldn't have had a reason.
It's a pig's heart.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, when she was 7, she sent her to kill him, and he brought her the heart. Then she's probably like not even worried about it.
I know, but you would think normal. That just to double check and be safe. The second he gave you that heart, I would have been like, mirror.
Like, let me double check.
Yeah.
Which proves that this woman has nothing better to do all day long than double check.
So I wonder, okay, so the prince in the original story, it says that when the queen thinks that she killed her, then the next day a prince stumbles upon the seemingly dead Snow White lying in her glass coffin after a hunting trip. After hearing her story from the Seven Dwarfs, the prince is allowed to take Snow White to her proper resting place back at her father's castle. So she never even met him before.
Wow.
So he wakes her up, and then they get married.
Is it in the story? Is it still true love's first kiss? So they are still true loves, or is that a thing that was added to the Disney thing?
Maybe I thought that was Snow White. I mean Sleeping Beauty.
It is Sleeping Beauty as well, but in this one, it specifically says that she can be woken up by true love's first kiss.
Okay, I don't know. Because it says that...
And I guess she's lucky that was the first kiss, because if they would have kissed before then, she wouldn't have been able to be waken up, because it wouldn't be true love's first kiss.
Uh-huh.
Good thing she ran away from him.
Yeah, good thing she ran away from him the
When he
first
tried
time.
to sing
Yeah,
her.
no, I don't see anything. It just says all of a sudden while Snow White is being transported, one of the prince's servants trips and loses his balance. This dislodges the piece of the poison apple from Snow White's throat, magically reviving her.
Wow.
So it's not even a kiss that wakes her up. It's a goof off servant
It's a Heimlich.
who dislodges a piece of poison apple from her throat.
So she choked.
I wish
she didn't actually.
I wish they would have done that. I wish they would have done that
Poison didn't
version.
even work. Oh, yeah.
Yes, so in the original Grimm fairy tale, she just choked.
Wow.
The prince like goes to pick her up and he drops her and it just flies out of her mouth.
And it says that the prince is overjoyed with this miracle and he declares his love for the now alive and well Snow White, who, surprised to meet him face to face, humbly accepts his marriage proposal. Like you never met this man
Can't marry a
before,
man you just met.
Gee, I feel like I've heard that numerous times in Disney.
but he's in love with her.
Sounds like Frozen.
Creepiness all around.
All right, well, maybe the romance angle doesn't hold up very well, but I think the rest of it holds up pretty good.
I hope if they redo Snow White that they do the apple lodging in her throat.
That'd be awesome.
They
How funny
they would
that
probably
be if
make
they
it
did
to.
do it like that. Because the ones that the two ones that came out not that long ago, the two live action Snow White ones that weren't by Disney, one of them was like funny, like it was like a quirky fairy tale type thing, and I totally could see that being something that they did, and it would be cool if they did that for this one too, but they won't.
I would assume
Which one?
that was
I don't even remember that.
that one was called Mirror Mirror.
Yeah,
It came out.
because the only one I've seen is Snow White and the Huntsman.
They came out the same year, I think. Which
Wasn't
is
there a
really
different
bizarre.
one? There was Mirror, and Snow White and the Huntsman. It was
those were the two.
Mirror-
Those were the two that
okay.
came out the same year, I think.
Mirror came out in 2012.
I think Snow White and the Huntsman was also 2012.
Snow White.
All I know is Dad likes those movies.
I like
And
Mirror. It's
yeah,
funny. It really is.
The Huntsman was 2012 and the Huntsman 2 was 2016.
I can't believe.
No,
even know- I didn't know there was a sequel.
It has
he likes the Huntsman
Arnie
movies.
Huh?
Arnie
It-
Hammer. I think that's his name.
Mirror, I know has Lily Collins in it.
Yes.
Huntsman, isn't that Chris Hemsworth?
It's
That
it's
was-
Thor. It's Thor and Kristen
I said
Stewart.
Mirror.
Oh, I
has
don't
Arnie
know.
Hammer.
I haven't seen either of them.
Dad likes the
We'll watch both
Huntsman
of them
movies.
now.
I would assume that in the
Yeah, Mirror is Armie Hammer
in the
and Lily Collins.
in the remake for this movie, they will make it so that the relationship between the prince and Snow White is established much sooner,
Yeah.
and a better relationship. Because isn't that what they did in Cinderella? They made Prince Charming more of a character in the live action Cinderella.
Yeah, that movie's bad.
I don't
Sorry.
remember.
I've
Spoiler.
heard it's one of the better ones, but I'm
Nope. It's the worst one in my
I'm
book.
pretty sure
I don't know about that.
regardless of that,
We'll take your opinion with a grain of salt.
I just in this day and age they know better than to keep it the way that it is. I would assume they will make the prince an actual character. They will meet well beforehand, have a friendship beforehand, and then when he shows up at the end, it'll be less weird.
Right.
Hopefully.
It'll probably be them knowing each other as kids.
They are kids. Well, at least one of them is.
No, like, shut up. No, like little kids. Hopefully they make her 17.
They'll walk with each other once upon a dream.
Wrong movie.
Well, they did know each other when they were little. But she was a baby.
They didn't know that.
That's true.
That's weird too. He was betrothed to a baby.
Uh-huh.
That's a different movie. We don't need to get into that.
That one took place in much older times, I think, right?
Probably.
Probably around the same time.
In the other podcast that I listened to, the girl tries to like name the exact like time frame that some of these movies are in, and she actually does a really good job. A lot of them are like, I don't know, 5th century, something like that. They also talked about The Sword in the Stone, and oh my god, we need to watch that movie because the way
That
that they
movie
were
is
describing
amazing.
it, I was like, what the heck?
It'll come up.
It'll
come up eventually.
I love that movie so much.
I don't know. From what they were saying, it doesn't really age that great.
Yeah, it'll
Shut
come.
up. Shut up, Chris.
It'll come up eventually.
Have you watched it recently?
When did it get its DVD release? The 45th
Oh
anniversary
my
or something like that? So
That would have been a while
Like
ago.
10 years ago or something like that.
No, I've seen it since then, but I know when I got it on DVD, I watched it like 20 times.
Alright.
Oh.
What's next?
Okay. Final
who-
thoughts, right?
No, who's everybody's favorite dwarf?
Sleepy, because I still am sleepy after all these years. Even more so now.
What was I gonna say? Probably Dopey, just because he's just hilarious. He's like one of the best portions of that movie.
Dopey is really funny. Grumpy's really funny too, even though he's got no reason to hate Snow White.
Yeah, I do like Grumpy.
He's just a grumpy old man boomer.
Yeah, but I love when he's trying to be all tough, like when they're all getting their foreheads kissed, and he still takes his hat off, and like he's being all tough in the house, and like he walks out, and it's like he still wants her to kiss him on the head, but he's being like a dick about it. Like it's really funny.
Yeah,
It's really funny.
Oh, one of my favorite characters that I wrote down just because of how hilarious it is, and I figured Matt's probably gonna be on the same page. The turtle, when they're doing all the animal scenes, the turtle.
My notes say, "Poor turtle,"
Right?
because
I had to bring up the turtle. I'm
because
sorry.
the turtle works so hard to get up the stairs, and then by the time he gets upstairs, they all have to go back downstairs.
And they all shoot him downstairs. And then when the animals are running to find the dwarfs when the hag shows up, the turtle, it takes him forever to get there. By the time he gets there, they're running back.
I loved the turtle. I also
Why
loved
couldn't somebody just pick up that poor turtle?
they don't have
They're all
opposable
animals.
thumbs. All the animals are really cute in this movie, and even like the bugs. There's like a scene with like a spider, and even the spider is like cute. It's like
Who's your favorite?
Oh,
one?
yeah.
probably Grumpy.
I like cute animals.
Who's yours, Carissa?
I don't know. I can't really pick. I guess Doc.
Doc's a good one.
Doc fumbles around with his words a lot. That's like the running joke.
I like that they. I like that you can kind of use them as like whatever your mood is type thing, you know, or to describe people. Like I think that could be a fun way. Like if they put them on T-shirts or something.
I feel like we've done that.
Dress up their daughter as Snow White.
I feel like I've done that.
One time,
Just the once.
just the one.
Even though for some reason they made me happy and I don't understand.
We'll probably end
laugh
up
a
doing
lot.
it again.
Is the baby gonna be dopey?
Yep.
Oh,
That's
poor
rude.
Jaden.
That's rude. You don't know him yet. All right. So Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Plus or bust. Nikki,
It's a plus.
Brady,
Plus.
Krista.
It's the best. No, I'm just kidding. It's a plus.
I swear to God, if you gave this a bust and you gave Artemis Fowl a plus,
Kicked off the show.
I would have been starting my own podcast about DreamWorks.
I'm on with that.
We'll call it the Shrek Cast. I don't know.
The Shrek cat.
How to Train Your Podcast.
All
I don't know.
right, Matt. Is it a plus or a bust?
It's a plus. I think it's a lot better than I expected it to be, considering how old it is.
Yeah.
I mean, not that a movie being old necessarily means that it's going to be bad, but I mean, there's some not great Disney animated movies that are much newer than this one. So I was impressed by how well it held up. I think the animation's great, the music's great. I think the characters all stand out for, that time period especially. I think it's really good. It's not like my new favorite or anything, but I would watch it again. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I can stand by that.
Same.
I probably won't watch it again, but that doesn't mean that it's not a good movie.
Your son will watch it eventually.
Yeah,
Eventually.
Some point.
And I mean, we've watched it at work before, so.
All right, does anybody know what we're doing next week?
Lion King?
The line. Oh,
Nope.
No?
That's the week after.
Then no.
Lady and the Tramp.
Nope. Different dog movie.
Oh, Togo.
Togo is next week.
Can I skip?
Nope. All right, next week we're watching Togo. Until then, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.